In this video, we're going to show you how we used AI to find option trades in Nvidia that made 1,493% with a 94.4% win rate. Let's dive in. All right, so in this video, we're going to break down what we believe is the best way to trade Nvidia if we wanted to. And to do that, we're going to use TradeMachine, which is our favorite tool when it comes to finding option trade ideas. If you don't have it, that's okay. But if you want to give it a try, you can get a $9 trial for 9 days. We'll put a link somewhere in the description, but let's dive into what we want to do here. So we're looking at Nvidia today. And if you have TradeMachine, we want to go to the backtest tab because we want to basically review what has worked in the past for Nvidia. And as all of you know, basically anything bullish has been a home run on Nvidia, but let's get a little more granular there. So we're going to go here and pretend like we're just going to buy a call on Nvidia over time. Looking at just kind of 15 days to expiration here. We're going to look over the last 3 years. Last 3 years, and yeah, that should be it. So obviously these return percentages look great. You know, if we're looking at the in the money call or right at the money call, it's 869% return, but you got a 35% win rate on that, and you're risking $22,000 to do that. And at the same time, if we kind of click into this here, you know, your average loss on that trade is about 90%, which is not great. And once you start having a bunch of those, it's going to mess with your head. So we want to start avoiding these things. So number one, the first thing we want to do is we want to avoid earnings, because at the end of the day, we don't want to just pray and hope overnight that things go well with these trades. So we're just going to skip that because we want something that's a little more evergreen and sustainable. So, you know, right off the bat, we can see our return percentages went up. Win rate's still pretty low, but went slightly up. And if we kind of look into this a little more granular here, our average loss shrunk a little bit, which is great. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. So now what we want to do is we want to bake in TradeMachine's proprietary AI that they have. And we're not going to go too much in detail on this, but basically the guys that founded this did a ton of research on this thing called kurtosis and how it can be applied to options trading. And they have this specific AI-powered algorithm that has been back-tested and proven to give you a statistical edge when it comes to option trading. And they're trying to build a fund around that right now, actually. But in the meantime, it's baked into TradeMachine. So we want to use it while we can. So you can go there. We're selecting the 6-month and 1-year kurtosis levels, and we're going to hit save on that. And again, right off the bat, our return percentages went even higher. And at the same time, our average win rate also went a lot higher. So if we just kind of check this one out as an example here, our average loss went lower and our average win went higher. So it's kind of a double whammy there. And one thing we're also going to add too is we're going to add in RSI, because we all know how Nvidia is. And we don't want to buy this when things are going too crazy and it's super overbought. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do it when it's below 75 over a 14-day period. Let's turn that on right there. Now, if you start to include that, all of a sudden, you get a win rate that's much higher across the board, and your cumulative gain is continuing to go up. So we're basically looking at something that was like a 35% win rate with a lower cumulative gain to something that has a cumulative gain, if you're looking at the at-the-money calls, of about 3,500% with a 55% win rate. If we go into this here, our average loss jumped a little bit there, but you know, we could fix that later. But at the same time, our numbers are looking exactly where we want them to look. But the amount we risked also went down a huge chunk, which is exactly kind of what we're looking for. But let's take this to another level. So for those of you that trade spreads, this will be something that you would find really interesting, because this is a great way to increase your return, but also minimize your risk. We want to play that game as well. So we're going to put on a diagonal spread here. And if we did this specific diagonal spread, we'd basically be looking at 14 wins, 4 losses, cumulative return of 1,800% with a 78% win rate. And we're only risking about $1,100 doing it this way. So this is another really, really good way to play it instead. So that way you're just not kind of YOLOing on calls and kind of hoping for the best there. They also have a couple other ones we can look at as well, like the spread the sell-off strategy, which this is kind of like a broken wing butterfly, so a little more advanced. But if you had done this one, check this out. 17 wins, 1 loss, a 94% win rate, and a cumulative return of 1,400%. Sorry, 1,500%, really. So that's kind of the power of some of the stuff you can do in TradeMachine. So if I was looking at Nvidia and I still had a long bias on it, I would probably do one of these two. I'd either track the spread the sell-off strategy they have, or either the diagonal, and watch one of those two. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't really want to YOLO on calls. If I can reduce my risk and play it that way, that's a much better way to play the game. So if you want to get more deep dives into this, number one, you know, get a free trial of TradeMachine. Super, super powerful what you can do. But number two, we send out an email every day where we break down one of the option trade ideas from TradeMachine just to kind of teach people a little bit more on how to use this, because it's really powerful, but we also can tell that for someone new, it can be very confusing. So we'll put a link in the description of the video as well, where you can hop on that kind of daily email we send out, breaking down one of the top ideas. They have this Today tab here, where all these different option trades are bucketed by different technical indicators, like buy the dip, buy the sell-off, fade the dip, all that kind of stuff. And they also include the return rate in terms of your cumulative gain and your win-loss ratio. And this is updated daily. So we always look through this every day. And we basically break down one of these every day because I think it's a really good way to teach people how to use this. But that's what we got for today. So if you got any questions, feel free to leave some comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.